Chris Lee and Blake Lovell of Southeastern 14 here. We are previewing SEC basketball action for Wednesday night. And we're doing this on Tuesday morning, so we don't have lines. What we do, however, have is a bunch of computers and the lines that they would suggest, so we'll give those to you. Florida is going to be about an 8-point favorite as it hosts Tennessee on ESPN2. That, according to the computers are giving Florida about a 22% chance to win. The computers have loved the Gators, but not a lot of big wins for Florida so far. However, Blake, this is an opportunity for Florida to change that. But my goodness, it comes against Tennessee, and the Vols are awfully tough to beat right now.
Yeah, they are. And this is one that I think you have a lot of questions about Florida offensively and what they can do against this team. And that's certainly the biggest glaring point heading into this one is just, can Florida find enough offense? We can replace Florida with a lot of teams, but this is just not a great offensive team. We've said it. Florida's had to lean on kind of the strength of being able to stop teams. You know, they held Missouri to 64 points, right? They held LSU to 56. I mean, they held A&M to 54, but lost that game. Mississippi State to 59, South Carolina to 60. You know, they lose to Kansas State, but they only give up 64. But they just, consistently scoring the ball is still something I think that with this team, and you've kind of brought that up before. You know, you look at Castleton's numbers, and Colin Castleton's Colin Castleton. He's gonna give you consistent, double-digit scoring. He's gonna, be right there in terms of rebounding, and he's gonna block shots. And he's the biggest impact player they have on this roster. Like, there's no question about it. It's just when you get beyond that, it's just a matter of trying to figure out what exactly you're going to get. And that's what we said. That's kind of been the hit or miss, right? Whether it's Jones stepping up and having a big game, or whether that's, Will Richard stepping up and having a big game, or I just think that's it. Like, they need more than maybe just a trio of guys or whatever. And that's what I've talked about. Like, that's where having a guy like Riley Kugel starting to step up and be a pretty consistent scorer for them. I was looking at the numbers I think it was yesterday. He scored at least 7 in their last, I think, 7 games. So, like, that's something. It's just they just need that extra. They need more than that offensively. They just need a lot more.
Tap.
Yeah, I mean, they just need a bit more than they're getting overall, and so you can only lean on your defense so much. So for me, this is a game where if you're Florida, you got to defend and make Tennessee have some of those stretches where they can't score. But as we've said, I think Tennessee's starting to. No, I hesitate to say that because the last time I said I think Tennessee's turning a corner offensively, they came out and scored 56 points against Kentucky and couldn't hit a layup. So I'm going to hesitate before I say that. But I think this is I don't think this is a rock fight, but I think this can be a little bit of a grind for Tennessee. But the problem is I just don't see Florida putting up enough offense to win unless they just completely shut down Tennessee and make this very, very similar to what happened against Kentucky. But then you're banking, I think, on Tennessee just missing shots. And maybe they do, but I can't pick Florida here.
Yeah, I feel like Florida is going to need to get maybe more shots out of Will Richard, or get one of those 1 out of every 10 games that Myron Jones can give you. Is for Tennessee that just the thing that's making Tennessee difficult. Like, we've known about the defense that's been there from the beginning of the season and before, but Tennessee's just getting so much scoring from so many guys. I mean, they can put 5 guys in double figures any given night, heck, maybe more than that, on a special night. But point is, I just think Tennessee's got more scoring sources than Florida, and it's not really close.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what we've been saying about Tennessee. They've got everybody back, and it just gives them a lot of different options in terms of how they can attack you offensively. And that's why you would expect them not to have some of those lulls offensively that we've seen before, because I think, it's even just having James back. It's having a healthy, Vescovy. It's, again, it's that I think is the difference. And I think too, and we haven't talked about this enough, but because it's kind of been, I guess, sporadic at times, but like Julian Phillips has at least shown he can, when they need it, he can have big games. And I think that's something else that you really keep in mind with this team. Hasn't necessarily had to have those in some of these games, but like I think he's shown the potential to be able to do that. And so when you add that to the mix with him, with Kamwa, with Ziegler, with Vescovy, with James, with Key, I mean, that is my goodness, like that is a rotation there.
Yes.
And, I mean, just a scoring rotation. Like take everything else out of the equation. Like there's a lot of potential high profile scoring right there. And
Yes.
that's why I think, again, I don't see that on Florida's side here. And if you're just looking statistically, if you go down the list here, I just don't see a lot that I look at with Florida and say that's the strength that's going to cause Tennessee issues outside of
Yeah.
just the way Florida defends, because they will have to make this a game that, it is going to be all about their defense. And so that's it. I mean, Florida to me has to play a flawless defensive game. If they do that, they can win this game. But otherwise, I just think we've seen too many kind of examples where Tennessee is just a complete team right now. And yeah, it's hard. It's hard to lean on Florida unless Castleton just goes off and they have some other guys around him that just kind of. But I think that's the thing too with Tennessee, right? Is Tennessee has the size against Castleton. I mean,
They've got Kumwa and they've got Plavsic, which is what I mean. The answer to your
yeah,
question is Castleton having a special night, but it's a lot tougher when you look up and you're opposed by those two guys because
and
that's
they do.
tougher
They've
than
got
what they
Jonas
see.
Adu
Well,
too. I
and
mean, he's a
right.
6'11", right? So yeah, I mean, yeah, I think this will be challenging for Florida. This is the how about this? This is the college basketball special in that it's the home court advantage that can give Florida, a
Yeah.
potential win here. And it just could be one of those college basketball games where the home team just has the top 5 team coming to their building, and, the momentum meter that you used to see on the old NCAA basketball games, like all of a sudden it just starts sliding in Florida's favor. But otherwise, yeah, I think this is Tennessee's the pick here.
Well, and one more thing before we move on to the other two games, I can make the case this is Florida's biggest game of the year because
Well,
the
yeah,
Gators, again, the computers love them. I think they are right around 50, maybe a couple of spots higher than the net. The resume is not there to get Florida in the tournament, but hey, beat Tennessee at home. Then we're starting to consider the Gators. They've got some other games. They got 2 shots against Kentucky. They've got Arkansas on the road. They've got some winnable games. There's a formula there for Florida to get to the NCAA tournament, given what their computer metrics are. But they're going to have to win a lot of the remaining games. And I think I'm not going to say Florida can't get to the tournament without beating Tennessee, but it becomes much, much harder because they just need a marquee win somewhere. And this would be seemingly the best opportunity to do that, unless perhaps something in Nashville in the SEC tournament. And frankly, after what A&M went through a year ago, I question how much that matters.
Yeah, like we said, Tennessee or Florida only has Tennessee and Auburn once, or excuse me, Alabama once. I have Auburn once too, I think. So that hurts them a little bit scheduling wise because that's your biggest win opportunities. Beyond that, as we said, they're going to feel half the remaining schedule is going to come against Vanderbilt twice, Ole Miss, Georgia, and LSU, not doing anything for you. So at 12-9, those are all games you have to win. Like you can't afford to lose any of those games, but you also have to pick up, a win or two elsewhere to stay away from, getting to 15 or 14 losses or something like that, which again, they can still get in, I think, but it's all a matter of who and how. That's going to be the biggest thing. But yeah, this is part of that stretch. We said the start of it, Kansas State, they didn't play well there. Now they got Tennessee at home, go to Kentucky and Alabama next. I think this is I think it's kind of what we said. They need to get one win in here at least for Florida to feel good about their chances, because otherwise, they go on a 4-game losing streak here. They've already got one. It's over. Like unless they win the SEC tournament or just beat every top team on the path to the championship or something. I don't see it. So
Okay, that one at 6:00 Central on ESPN2. Also at 6:00 Central, and this one on the SEC Network. Georgia visits Florida. Remember, these two teams played back on
Auburn.
January the 4th. What did I say?
You said Florida.
Oh, excuse me, Auburn. Yes, Georgia visits
visit
Auburn.
Florida. They could.
They could,
I mean,
but
they already have.
they
I
wouldn't
think,
have a forfeit, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Don't want to forfeit. You got to bring a jersey too. So, yeah.
That was good. Georgia visits Auburn.
Georgia's at Auburn.
Much to my surprise. The computers have Auburn as about an 11.5-point favorite. We don't have a line for this. Georgia did beat Auburn in Athens back on January the 4th, 76-66. I feel like both teams, though, are in a different place. Georgia's about that close to a 4-game losing streak. Had to go to overtime against South Carolina to pull one out of the fire in Athens on Saturday. Other losses before that. Now, that was Kentucky, Vandy, Tennessee. Not exactly the walk of shame for losing those games. But Auburn also did not play well in the first half on Saturday, coming off a very disappointing game against Texas A&M, in which I think Auburn had the longest home winning streak after Gonzaga had lost in the country. So Auburn tries to start a new winning streak at 1 with Georgia. I think this is a tough spot for Georgia because I think Bruce Pearl is going to have Auburn's attention going into this one if he didn't already.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like, this is it's a crucial game for Auburn because we talked about their schedule not long ago. We talked about the A&M game at home. They lose that one. They go lose at West Virginia. And now sandwiched in between the upcoming road trip to Tennessee and A&M and home against Alabama, home against Missouri.
Ooh.
Arguably the top 4 teams in the league. I mean, in our case, they would be, right? Our power rankings.
They were what we ranked.
4. Yeah.
Yep.
So, so this is the game before you get to playing maybe the top 4 teams. And of course, Auburn's in that discussion too. But this is a big one because I don't think Georgia will make this easy. But the problem for Georgia is that on the road, they have left a lot to be desired. As we said, it's kind of just how it works sometimes. But they've not played well in a couple weeks. I mean, really, I think we go back to that game against Auburn. I thought they played well in the Florida game, but really beyond that, beat Mississippi State. That wasn't exactly a playing great game, I don't think. So they haven't really, I don't know, they're sliding a little bit. And this is one we're having to go on the road, a little revenge factor here against Auburn. I don't love Georgia's chances here. And what happened in that first game, I think you're going to see a lot of the same things from Georgia in that. Look, Auburn shot 28 threes there, and we said that. I said, if I'm Auburn, I'm shooting half that and no more, just based on, they had to try to shoot their way back into that game because they were down 13 or whatever it was with 5 minutes to go, and, could kind of never get to that point they need to get to. Now, Auburn rebounded well in that game, and that's something I think you look at with them. That's been a big factor, I think, in some of their success is being able to grab some extra opportunities, especially on the offensive glass. So, that's another kind of intriguing stat maybe coming into this one. But I do think it's kind of 2 teams in different spots now. And it's not to say that Auburn's been playing well because they really haven't overall these past 2 games. But I tend to think the team that had a 20-something game winning streak at home is not all of a sudden going to have a 2-game losing streak at home. I think they find a way to take care of business here just because Georgia has not been able to find consistency on either side right now. And, you can always say, well, maybe sometimes a team just has another team's number. I don't really see that here. I think Auburn back in the friendly confines probably takes care of business. But I do think Georgia will defensively try to do what they did last time. Push them out as far as they can, make them take as many shots as they can away from the rim, not get to the free throw line, keep them out of the paint with Broom and such. That's if Georgia can pull that off defensively, you've got a game. But I think Auburn will defend really well here, and maybe this is kind of the frustration game for Auburn, where all of a sudden they just come out red hot and just take out some recent frustration. I could see that scenario playing out here too.
Yeah, Auburn about an 85% chance to win according to the major computers there. Okay, as soon as that one's over, also on the SEC network, LSU travels to Missouri. Missouri is going to be about a 10.5-point favorite with about an 85% chance to win according to the computers. We'll see what the lines actually say. Frankly, I think that Missouri wins by more than that. We've gone over all the reasons we don't trust LSU right now, and Missouri's looked really good. At least it did on Saturday.
Yeah, if you're talking about a game where you want to take the offense, we know which offense we're taking here because I'm not going to say this feels like Alabama LSU, but Ooh, I mean, if Missouri gets going, man, this game could get ugly. I think, because I just don't know that I trust LSU to defend them. I mean, I really don't.
Yeah.
And I guess you can kind of say the same maybe about Missouri, but LSU, even at
Missouri
its
has
best,
shown some
yeah.
flashes of being able to. I
Oh, they're
know
getting
the
better.
adjusted defensive, the adjusted
Yeah,
defensive efficiency for them is awful,
yeah,
but they get steals. You've seen them do it in little bits at a time, and I just don't think LSU's not the kind of team that's going to get out and run on them and probably get a lot of easy buckets.
yeah. By the way, we discussed this in our video we did with Rory. If you haven't checked that one out, we did a 20-minute video looking at sort of just the state of where Missouri's at right now, NCAA tournament resume and all that. Great feedback on that one too. I think you guys are enjoying us kind of having some new voices on here. So be sure to check that video out on the channel if you're a Missouri fan. But yeah, I mean, they are getting better defensively. And I think that is, as we said, that's going to be the key for Missouri. If they're going to, if they're going to be not just an NCAA tournament team, but if you're talking about a team that can win multiple games in the tournament, the offensive firepower is there. They've just got to defend better and they got to rebound better. And quite frankly, I think both of those areas against LSU, there's not really anything that jumps out that says, well, Missouri, if they just aren't perfect rebounding or defense, they're in trouble. No, I feel like this kind of game where you can kind of have some of those flaws and be okay because you just don't trust that LSU offensively is going to be able to keep up here. Because if we run down LSU score lines from the last 1, 2, 3, I think it's 7, 8 games, 56, 56, 66, 49, 56, 40, 68. They just can't score the ball. And
Yeah.
I just think unless, as we always say, and I feel like we're getting into some of these in SEC territory now where you're looking from one side of it and saying it's going to take a perfect game from one of these bottom tier teams to beat one of these top tier teams. Like that gap feels like it's much larger than it's been in some seasons. And so I think that's kind of it here. I think LSU's got to have a perfect game from a defensive standpoint, from an offensive standpoint, because otherwise, to me, this just feels like Missouri will just overwhelm them from an offensive standpoint with the trio we always talk about, but then everyone else, DeAndre Golston. Someone mentioned in the comments maybe DeAndre Golston not getting enough credit. I'd agree with that too. Like there's a lot of credit to
They
go
just have so
around.
many guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot to go around for this team. So yeah, I mean, I just you look at it from that standpoint. I just don't know if LSU can put together an offensive game unless they just come out and hit 15 threes. I just don't love the matchup here for the Tigers. So,
Well, here's what I think makes it so tough.
Which Tigers?
For
I don't love the
the
matchup
LSU Tigers.
for the LSU Tigers.
Right. Here's what's I think discouraging if you're LSU. We've said for a while, it's like KJ Williams was the guy you had to stop, and teams had started to stop him a little bit. He'd been so consistent, but when you don't have another guy who can step up and give you points, it's harder for your dude to really take the reins and lead you where you want to go. Well, they finally got that with Adam Miller, who had 20 points against Texas Tech, and it still wasn't good enough Saturday. I think that's where, if you're Matt McMahon, you come away probably a lot discouraged following the loss to Texas Tech at home on Saturday.
KJ Williams versus Kobe Brown's a fun matchup here, but I think KJ Williams has got to go for about 25 and 18 for LSU to have a chance, in my opinion. That's the number I'm going to set it at. Maybe 30 and 18. And look, rebounding wise, he could have a huge
I think Adam Miller's the key here, honestly. I think it's going to be that second guy if they're going to have a chance.
Oh yeah, because I mean, that's it. Like that, because early in the season they're playing well. Why? Because Adam Miller's playing well. He's giving them 20-something points. I'm looking down the number here, 26, 23, 26, 18. And remember, they're still winning some of those games close. Some of those games are still close wins. So that's it. Yeah, they need more than just those two guys. But let's say KJ Williams, Adam Miller combined for about 60-something points, then okay, maybe we're talking. And they're going to have to, I think, because I don't know how LSU stops Missouri, because this isn't like a great defensive team either. So yeah, I mean, the LSU's on a 8-game losing streak. I told you earlier, I was like, surely they're not going to wind up getting this thing to double digits. But right now, at Missouri, home against Alabama, at Mississippi State, home against A&M, this thing could, doesn't look great. So
If you do not like betting $11 to win 10, go to BROTHROW where you can bet 10 to win 10. It lets you bet on all 50 states because it's not the house. Bettors have a fair chance at winning. It is the only sports betting platform that doesn't take a cut of every bet. No need to deposit money into a BROTHROW account. No deposits, no minimum bets, no need to connect your bank account. Bettors pay each other directly. It's a hassle-free sign-up process that gets you in the action in seconds. Go to brothrow.com/SE14. Get in the game today. All right, Blake, we got a lot of stuff coming up at Southeastern 14, football, baseball, basketball, year-round. We just interviewed Nick Mingione, Kentucky's baseball coach. We got that posted. We'll have recaps of these things. We did a football live stream last night. We got more football previews coming up. What am I forgetting here?
I think we have to start doing videos at this point just to talk about the other videos.
Right.
Because we got so many. Yeah, I mean, look, we've said from the start, our goal is to cover the big three sports equally. And if you can't see the content we're putting out, that's what we're doing here. Like, we've got all kinds of stuff going on. My goodness, just a million basketball videos, all these football state of the programs. We're almost done with those. We still got several more to put up. You guys are doing live streams every Monday. We're going to have some basketball live streams. We figure that out. We're interviewing baseball coaches. We got team previews coming up for every SEC baseball team. I don't know. We're going to talk tennis, soccer, I don't know, badminton. I don't even know if the SEC has badminton, but we're going to talk all this stuff. So
We'll start badminton.
Look, just from the start, all the people who were here from day one, I mean, you kind of know what we've worked really hard at this and have tried to give you guys as much as we can, as many angles as we can on everything. And I feel like we're finally getting to that point where we can do that. And we're adding a lot of different voices. We said Rory came on with us. She's going to be joining us for basketball and baseball. We've got a lot of other people we've added to the staff. You'll get to, meet them soon in other videos. And man, it's just this is the point like we were always kind of wanting to get to, where we can just do all this stuff. And now that we're doing it, hey, it's a lot of fun. And so you guys will have no shortage of content when it comes to any of the big three sports, and perhaps more than the big three sports here as we move forward. So
yeah, we were about 500 subscribers a year ago. We're about 6,300 as we do this. Goal is to get to 10,000 by the College World Series. So help us get there.
We'll do it.
Okay, thanks for watching. Again, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't, hit the like button. Both those things help us out and help us get noticed so we can continue to bring you great coverage. He is Blake Lovell. I am Chris Lee. We are Southeastern 14. And we'll see you again soon.